I had a wonderful childhood. I grew up in church. I was really blessed. My family and I, we didn't have any large issues when I was younger. In 6th grade, I started on a swim team, and while there, about a half year in, I started to get picked on by these two boys there, and they'd say really degrading things about my ethnicity, things like, go back to the sweatshops, or you're a dirty Mexican, and you're gonna die alone, a cat lady. It was a real blow to my self-esteem, and it went on for almost 2 years. And I struggled a lot with self-esteem because of it. It kind of amplified all those things that girls already feel as young adults. At one point, towards the end of my 7th grade year, my mom decided to have her family do family therapy. At the same time, my grandmother started getting sick. So my mom was trying to counteract that stress on the family because my grandmother had moved down. So we went to some family therapy to just make sure that everybody was all right with what was going on. At the same time, my grades had started to slip, and I had been having more trouble with the guys at swim. One of them went to my school, and he would push me into the walls in the hallway and things like that. In therapy, I was talking to the counselor. My whole family was there, and I confided in them that I had been unhappy and that I had been having unhealthy thoughts about myself and about why I was here. I was diagnosed as clinically depressed with a chemical imbalance and suicidal. The 2 months after, I was taking antidepressants, and I was going twice a week to therapy and journaling, and it was a Christian counselor, so I was reading the Bible and praying, and I would just sit in my room and just cry. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know why I was going through this, why I was having so much difficulty. I tried to commit suicide 3 times. I was just trying to make it by, and eventually my mom had called the school to let them know what was happening, and the guidance counselor called me and she said, "Hi, your mom called. How are you doing?" And I obviously knew what she was talking about, and I told her what was going on, and I told her what I had tried to do, and I was Baker acted, and cops came to the school. They picked me up and took me to the police station, and from there, I was taken to the hospital by ambulance and admitted to the psych ward. While I had been taking antidepressants that entire time, my mom said I had been emotionally flatlined. So while I was at the hospital, they took me off all my medication. I just stayed there for a weekend. I saw the kids there. I was like, I do not belong here. The faculty was like, you don't belong here, and the kids were like, you don't belong here. There was no reason for me to be there. I had a loving family, I had good grades, I was cared for, and being there, not taking my medication, and just thinking about what I have, snapped me out of it. I was like, no, I don't belong here. I don't know what I'm doing here. I was let out, and when I got home, my parents were obviously very happy to see me, and they told me that they were taking me out of public school. I started homeschooling, and at first I hated it, but I gained so much from it. Now I see all the time that God gave me to spend with my grandmother, and me being here gave me all that extra time to be with her. Homeschooling let me build better relationships with my family. It allowed me to see all the things that God has done in my life. When you're sitting there, like I was, in your room, staring at a wall, asking yourself, what am I doing? it's hard to see that God has a plan for you and that people love you, you have to rely on God. I would be lying to you if I told you that now I have an amazing relationship with God. Everybody slips up. Just because you go through something traumatic or challenging doesn't mean that it's gonna get all better and then you're never gonna have another problem again. There are gonna be bumps on that road. You need to look behind you, see all the bumps that you've already gone over, and go over the next bump. Now, there's little that I can't get through because looking back, you see all those things, all those bumps you went over. It makes you just push a little harder for that next bump that comes. 7th grade girls and middle school girls. I was 13 when I tried to commit suicide. I know what it's like to feel hopeless and unwanted and like there's no reason for you to be here. You have to look past the right now and see the beautiful future that God has for you because it's there. You just have to stick it out. You're loved by God and by your peers. Pray and see that God is always there for you, no matter what. My name is Miadora, and my backstory would still be my story without Jesus Christ. That's all.